Okay, so what if I told you that the biggest thing stopping you, from living your best life, it isn't really about how much you know or even how smart you are.
Hmm.
It's actually about how you think when things get tough under pressure.
Yeah, that's a powerful starting point.
So today we're doing a deep dive into clear thinking. It's by Shane Parrish, and we're really aiming to unpack his ideas on, well, mastering decisions and getting that mental clarity.
It is such a compelling idea, isn't it? Shane
Ah,
Parrish, the guy behind Farnham Street, he puts it really simply.
how
He
so?
basically argues that clear thinking, it's not about piling up more facts or learning like complex theories.
Right, not just more information.
Exactly. It's more about removing things, removing those hidden forces that cloud the judgment you already have.
Yeah, and that's what I find so, well, empowering for you listening. Parrish is essentially saying, look, you've got the tools already inside you.
Mm-hmm.
The real challenge, the way he puts it, is just getting out of your own way. So, less about finding new wisdom, maybe, and more about clearing the decks for the wisdom you've kind of got inherently. But okay, if it's that simple, what are these hidden forces then? What actually trips us up?
Well, Parrish points to these four really powerful um, defaults. That's
Yeah.
his term.
Default, okay.
Yeah, they're constantly working, often behind the scenes, sabotaging our decisions, our best intentions, often without us even noticing. They're like these internal roadblocks we have to, well, actively spot and push back against.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on these defaults. Where do we start? Which one's first?
Well, maybe we start with the one that's maybe the trickiest, ego.
Ego, right.
And it's not just arrogance, though. That could be part of it.
Sure.
It's that really deep need we have to be right, to protect how we see ourselves.
Okay.
And that need makes us incredibly defensive. And crucially, it sort of filters out stuff, information that doesn't fit with what we already believe.
Ah, so it creates blind spots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Blind spots. They're almost impossible to see when you're inside that ego bubble. Think about those times you've really dug your heels in on an idea, even when the evidence was, well, pointing the other way.
Oh, yeah. Definitely been there. It's like your brain just shouts, nope, not admitting I'm wrong. Okay, so ego's one. What about feelings? Because strong emotions, they can totally derail things.
Oh, absolutely. That's the second default.
Yeah.
Emotion.
Okay.
When those strong feelings kick in, could be fear, anger, even just intense excitement or maybe too much optimism. They just sort of hijack our logical brain.
Right.
So we end up reacting, like impulsively, instead of taking a moment and giving a measured, thoughtful response.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like the difference between, say, snapping back in an argument versus taking a breath, even if you're really mad.
Precisely. Your emotions are driving the bus, not your considered judgment.
Okay, ego, emotion. And then what about, the influence of everyone else? I know I feel that sometimes.
Yeah, that's number three, social pressure. This is when we end up choosing what looks good, to other people, or what fits in with the group, rather than what's actually genuinely good for us or right for the situation.
Perception over substance.
Exactly. Like maybe agreeing with a shaky idea in a meeting just to avoid making waves.
We're pursuing a career because it sounds impressive, even if it doesn't feel right.
Precisely. That's social pressure working on you.
That's a sneaky one.
Yeah.
Often hard to see in the moment. Okay, and what's the last default? The final piece.
The last one is inertia.
Inertia, like just getting stuck.
Exactly. It's our really strong tendency to just keep doing things the way we've always done them, to stay in those old patterns.
Even if they don't work anymore.
Even when they're clearly not working or not serving us well. It's that comfort of the familiar, even if the familiar is a bit broken.
Like driving that old familiar route, even though you know there's a faster way now.
Perfect analogy. We stick with the known, even if it leads to, well, less than ideal results, just because making a change feels like more effort.
So these four, ego, emotion, social pressure, inertia, they aren't just for like massive life choices, right? You're saying they're operating all the time.
All the time, absolutely. They're influencing everything. An argument with your partner, how you weigh up a job offer, even just how you react when someone gives you criticism.
Wow.
They're subtle, they're everywhere. And they're powerful because they kind of run on autopilot. They are our autopilot settings.
Okay, so if these defaults are constantly sort of pulling us off track, how does Parrish suggest we fight back? How do we actually find that clarity he talks about? This is where a secret weapon comes in, right?
Yes, exactly. The place where clarity really exists, the key idea for him, is something he simply calls the pause.
Ah, the pause.
Right.
That tiny little gap, that moment between something happening, the stimulus, and how we react, our response.
He calls it your space of control. It's brilliant.
So instead of just reacting automatically like the defaults want us to, how do we use this space? What do we actually do in that little sliver of time?
Well, he urges you to actively interrupt that automatic chain reaction.
Okay.
In that space, that pause, you can inject some simple but really potent questions.
Like what?
Instead of letting ego or emotion drive, you ask yourself, okay, what's really going on here? Or maybe, am I reacting based on one of my defaults right now? Or am I actually thinking this through?
Mm.
He even suggests asking, what would a calm, rational person do right now? It's basically about taking that breath instead of just, immediately firing back or jumping to conclusions.
That makes so much sense. It's like installing a little mental speed bump. So how do people who are good at this, the clear thinkers Parrish describes, how do they manage it? How do they shift from just reacting all the time to thinking more deliberately?
Well, he says clear thinkers, they don't rush. They don't flinch when the pressure's on. They intentionally take that step back.
Okay.
They get the clarity isn't about being fast. It's about being precise.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating that tiny bit of distance from whatever just happened so you can see it more objectively.
And what kind of questions do they use in that space? I imagine they're pretty specific.
They are, but they're often deceptively simple. Things like, okay, what problem am I actually trying to solve here?
Ah, right. To stop you solving the wrong thing.
Exactly. Or, what are the second-order effects of this decision?
Mm-hmm.
That forces you to think beyond just the immediate result.
Thinking ahead. Yeah.
And a really crucial one, what's the actual downside if I'm wrong about this? It's like they're training their minds, like an athlete trains their body.
Yeah.
Training to anticipate, to respond with precision, not just raw instinct.
So it's not about never making mistakes or being perfect. It's about being intentional, deliberate. And Parrish gives us some actual tools, right? Practical ways to build this clarity muscle, these mental habits.
Oh, absolutely. He knows just understanding it isn't enough. You need strategies you can actually use.
Okay, so for all of us listening who are thinking, right, I want to build this muscle, what are some of those key tools from the book?
Well, one really good one is what he calls the red flag checklist.
Red flag checklist, okay.
This is all about proactively spotting the signals that you might be getting emotional or feeling rushed or just slipping into one of those defaults we talked about.
Like warning signs.
Exactly. So when you notice yourself feeling maybe overly confident or suddenly really defensive or feeling that pressure to just agree with the group,
Mm-hmm.
that's your red flag.
Right.
That's your signal to hit pause. It's like your own internal dashboard flashing a warning light. Slow down. Think.
I like that, giving yourself concrete signals. Okay, what else has he got?
Then there's something called the pre-mortem. This was fascinating, kind of counterintuitive.
Pre-mortem, before death.
Sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You imagine your plan, your project, whatever it is, has already failed, like spectacularly failed.
Okay.
Then you work backwards from that imagined failure to figure out why, what went wrong.
I see.
The genius of it is it lets you sort of fail safely in your head first. It helps bypass that ego and maybe the social pressure that would normally stop you from seeing potential flaws when the stakes feel high. It sharpens your foresight by making you actively look for the potential problems.
That's clever. It forces you to look at the uncomfortable possibilities. Okay, checklist, pre-mortem. Is there a third one?
And the third key tool is really simple. The 5-minute reflection.
Just 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes. At the end of the day, maybe you just take that time to ask yourself, okay, where did I lose clarity today? Where did I maybe react instead of respond? And why did that happen?
Simple, but probably quite powerful if you do it consistently.
Exactly. None of these are like magic tricks. They're repeatable habits. Simple things that practice consistently create these compounding results over time. They can subtly start to rewire those default responses.
It really feels like, in this world we live in, so much noise, everything's so fast, endless distractions. Clarity really is like a superpower.
It really is.
And the encouraging thing, as Parrish really emphasizes, is that it is a skill. It's something you can actually learn. You can practice it. You can master it. It's not just something you're born with or without.
And that core idea, that sort of secret weapon underpinning it all, it keeps coming back to that simple thing, the pause.
Yeah.
That little bit of space where you regain control, where you choose how you respond instead of just letting the defaults take over.
Remember that the best decisions you make, they often start right there, with that ability to just pause. And Shane Parrish puts it so powerfully, doesn't he? He says, you don't rise to the level of your potential. you fall to the level of your defaults.
Oof, that's a strong one.
It really is. It's a profound thought. Makes you reflect, doesn't it? Are you
Sure.
consciously choosing to rise, to use that pause, or are you maybe just letting those ingrained patterns, those defaults, run the show? Definitely something to think about.